On lichess and Twitch. Yours truly, International Master William Paschall. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Subscriber stream. Game analysis with submissions from the subscribers. Personally analyzing games submitted by you guys. And I enjoy this. I enjoy analyzing chess. I love chess. It's my game. What's up? One of my games, anyway. What's up, Spectacular Camel? Camel has a game. I'm surprised we haven't seen Asterbait. There he is in the chat. Thanks, everybody, for watching, for tuning in. Got subscriber stream. Sadamasa, Ibadis, Sumaher, Mirales, VIP, Asterbait, VIP, Princess, Mr. Slow, and Move 11. All of you are practically VIPs in my book. What is up? Few of the VIPs on hand. Alright. Ready to get started. Just putting everything together. Guys, don't forget to check out the Discord and our YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Actually, I want to submit the game we looked at today, next week. I'll be there yesterday. Don't confuse me. You're doing some kind of Jedi mind tricks, aren't you? Maybe a less clear statement. Let's just keep it the way it is. Alright. First up, Sada. Where is Sadamasa? Sata. Satellite. Alright. He's got the following submission. Wait a minute. I got him on the list. Where is his submission? It's weird. Is that right? Could this be it? Oh yeah, I don't remember going over this. Did we? Dominic Lawson. We've seen a game from this player before. I don't remember this game. Going over this. 19th of March. This must be new. The opening explorer on lichess is back. Oh, Dominic Lawson, wait. So this guy is some kind of public figure. Isn't that it? Someone from the UK. He's some kind of public figure. And I analyzed another game. No relation to Eric Lawson, who wrote a book on... I assume no relation. Was it Eric Lawson? Who wrote the book on Tony Miles? Lawton. What is his name? Jeff Lawton. Alright. I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused between Lawson and Lawton. There's Jeff Lawton. Jeff Lawton is an IM from England, not very well known, who wrote a book about the games of Tony Miles. Dominic Lawson is some kind of publicly known figure who plays chess. He's like 2100. Alright, let's check it out. So this is Sadamasa playing black. I definitely seen one of this guy's games before for some reason. One of my other students had a game against the same player. But I got them confused with Lawton. Jeff Lawton, who I never met. So B3. Mr. Coffee, good to see you. I have an idea. What? You like that idea because studies require to give permission on an individual. How we solve that matter. Why don't you make a study for the stream? Open. For the stream open and people can add to that directly. Utopianist ideas. Because nobody ever screws anything up. Spectacular Camel is like some sort of idealist. Ugh. Alright. Snuggles the Snail. But thank you for your suggestion. I'll try to shoot it down in a few more ways if I can think if I can think of it. Snuggles the Snail, thank you for joining us. Alright. Been thinking about maybe adding some guinea pig video. Live video. Guinea pig live video during the stream. How do you guys think of that? An account that receives the games and adds them, maybe. His name is Mr. Coffee. I'll just get my bots right on it. I'm just not that big of an operation. This is a mom and pop operation. Just me and Panda. Alright. Too small an operation for that. We need some volunteers. Maybe you'd like to volunteer. Anyway, Dominic Lawson versus Sadamasa, b3, e5. You know, I was just talking to someone today about, recommending knight f6 and g6. This is such an easy way to play for black. I would think Sadamasa would be attracted to that because he likes the Grunfeld, King's Indian type of stuff. This is perfectly fine. Another not new. They're discovering all my ideas, but a5 I've been playing for years. Like, you can find games of mine. Like from more than 20 years ago online. One Spanish IM and I played this against him maybe dozens of times in online chess. That's becoming popular now. Well, I was playing it 20 years ago before anybody was even born yet. Anyway, all right, b3, e5, traditional move. I had one of my students today. I looked at a game where he played c5. He's a Sicilian player. And this is actually good too. I mean, after c5, bishop b2, we can try to build like a... I kind of like the idea of trying to build a fortress with e5. It should be a reasonable way to play. Warnaki, welcome. Anyway, I'm just basically sitting here showing you all the alternative ways to play. Let's see what Sadamasa did. So e5, bishop e2, d6. Okay, yeah, this is your game. This is the first one. It's less common to see d6. Everyone seems to gravitate toward knight c6. I'm trying to remember if I've seen this recommended anywhere. I can never remember. I think Adorian was recommending like knight c6 and like g6, which is also a thing. Antonio, welcome. Warnaki, thanks again for subbing. We had a donation earlier from Thomas Alexander Newman with $100. Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support, guys. E3. Right, and then G6 I was saying. We're going to look at D6 instead. E3, and now knight F6. I would suppose that you could do other stuff here, like play F5. It makes sense, maybe not to block the knight in a closed sort of structure. Bidyak, welcome. Thanks to all of you guys for being regular supporters of the stream. Appreciate it. Got a small but compact crew here. So I'm just going to look at this. Knight F6, C4. We basically transposed to as if you played Knight F6 early. G6. It's a King's Indian. I mean, he played C4, right? What else can he do? I mean, D4. D4 is what Jim would do. Is this what Hikaru would do? Is there anybody here like Jim or some sort of expert on B3? Does anybody know what Hikaru would play? It has to be d4. There's Nakamura Anand. So Hikaru's been playing this stuff for at least like 6 years now. d4, and it's clean the diagonal. That seems like the point, to try to break it down. Break it open with d4. I've had some games with our friend and subscriber Jim, who's a good player, and he's done stuff like this. So c4 converts to an English. It's not as incisive. g6 and now d4. So here we start to have interesting ideas. Now we can play like bishop g7, and when he takes, we'll just like pin him with knight g4 or knight fd7. You don't have to, in other words, you don't have to take on d4 here. You don't have to do that either. I mean, knight on bd7 looks rather slightly passive for black. I'd rather develop my king side. So if I can play this, there's some terrible players in the list here. Leonid Stein, 2620. Romanishan from just a few years ago. And a guy named Mark Hebden. He knows a little bit about the King's Indian. I don't know. You know, knight d7 looks restrictive to me. I don't prefer it. Kind of committal. We still have the option of going knight c6 at some points. Obviously you can take as well, which I was trying to avoid. That seems to be an option too. But I mean, essentially what you're doing is you're transposing to an old school King's Indian attack with the colors reversed. Atsil Gergo playing white in a game there. And now bishop d3, which is an unusual square. This bishop does very little on this diagonal. Eating dirt at g6. So you see Atsil played knight f3. And then usually we're going to play knight f3, queen c2, bishop e2, rather classic setup. King's Indian attack reversed. Bishop d3, the placement of this piece here is awkward in the event that white plays knight f3. However, maybe he can play knight e2 instead, and that's what he does. Castles, knight e2. Botvinnik recommended this setup in the French. I'm not sure black would play b3 and bishop b2 rather than b5. You know, at this point you might as well have played b4, I suppose. It looks like a solid approach. Rook e8. Castle, and now black pushed because he could push here to e4. No a5. I recommended that on move 1, Warnaki. One of my favorite a5s. Isn't d4 against e5 incredibly topical since the Nimzo-Larsen attack with knight f3 is predicated on not allowing e5 to happen? Isn't d4 against e5 incredibly topical? Well, I would normally like to destroy the enemy's center with a flank pawn, you know. In the Nimzo-Larsen attack, technically, Warnaki, I would prefer to undermine the e5 pawn with my f4 pawn from the flank in a vacuum rather than playing, you know, my central pawn to d4. I could challenge the center with a flank pawn. I would prefer it. Anyways, this looks like an interesting position. Is the e4 pawn overextended? That's the issue at stake here. White has the ability to put a lot of pressure on that pawn. Bishop c2, queen b1, knight g3. Is this push too early? If it is, we have a problem. So Sadamasa needs to consider the option of taking. You know, one common theme that I've seen used a lot in the KIA is basically like this. Rubinstein. It's straight out of Rubinstein. Rubinstein didn't really play the King's Indian attack, but he did do stuff like this in certain structures. The idea of taking on d4 and then fixing him. And that pawn's a goner. You know, you can forget about the pawn on d5. I mean, white would likely like take with a knight maybe, but then you have squares for your knight. You can still play for d5. So Sadamasa has basically like 3 different plans. He can maintain the sort of tension. He can play e4, or he can take and then play for d5. He decides to push e4, bishop c2, and now c6. So white played d5. Very committal. Very committal decision. If white puts more pressure on the e4 pawn with something like knight g3, we can protect. White can even jack up more pressure with queen b1, and then eventually we're going to have to cave in and play d5. So the question becomes, and I had a game with Sadamasa along these lines at one point, after something like this, are we in trouble because of the weak squares in black's position? Perhaps, as the presidents of the USA would say, perhaps, knight b5, knight f8, maybe we have something better. Knight b5, knight f8, bishop a3, queen d7, knight d6. I'm not sure I am sure what to think about this. It's probably okay. Here we like take this down, give it up, and then we've got the C file. Looks pretty good, actually. It looks like black has enough pressure to compensate for giving up, but it's all hinging on tactics and stuff. It's all very much hinging on the tactics. But you've got to be very careful when you have to play d5. That's the question. So white played this. This is cool. He played d5 to circumvent you from playing d5 yourself. An interesting move. An interesting move. Now there will be no more d5. So if you try to close it up, which would be normal, I think, in a KIA, then we have that variation again, where you run out of gas here. Can I play, can I defend? Doesn't look like it. We're just losing our e4 pawn. There's no time. So, interesting move. If you take, he takes with a knight. You take with a knight. He takes here. You have an interesting response. Knight takes e3, for example. Queen d4. I'm just kind of messing around here with some variations, but it's possible this is actually good. You might have a good answer there. If he takes with a knight, the in-between move could change everything. Bishop g7. In the previous variation, Mr. Sohan, Queen e7 does not protect. Guys, don't forget to donate. No one's cheered this week. I feel kind of weird. We have no donations. Wow, it's already Thursday. Next week, everything goes back to normal. I've had kind of short streams this week. Monday and Wednesday, we had just like 1 hour and 15-minute streams. So we haven't been streaming as much. Things are going back to normal next week, just so everybody knows. But I was freaked out. There's no cheers this week. And no gift subs. That's crazy. Alright, knight takes d5. We did have a donation earlier. Knight takes d5. Bishop g7. Knight e3. Let's go back to Mr. Sohan's suggestion. Queen e7 doesn't protect. In what variation I was talking about? Like here. We were talking about this. It would be like 1, 2. I'm envisioning a place where there's 4 pieces attacking. There's 4 pieces attacking e4, and there's only 3 defenders. That's what I'm talking about. The math is that white wins a pawn. Three minor pieces attack e4. But b4 would be hanging, but not in this line, right? If it's white to move, you make a move here. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes g7. Knight takes g3, we have an in-between move. Yeah, maybe you guys are right. The tactic might save you. Could we play, you got to be careful though what move you make. If you play this move, then it doesn't work, you know, like here, 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 here. Even here it maybe works, because you have this knight e2 check, king h1. I don't know. Rook takes. Is the knight trapped? Probably it is. There's some complicated stuff going on around here. A lot of calculation required. Probably. And you don't need queen b1. Would you like to specify? What do you mean you don't need queen b1? Well, you don't need queen b1. Yeah, I gotcha. You don't need queen b1. Queen e7, you could just take. Right, okay. So that refutes it. Black has to play d5. I need more alcohol. It's been a long day, sorry. e4 is just hanging. I haven't even had a chance. I'm just digging into this. Haven't had a chance to drink a beer. You know, I got a 42 on Puzzle Storm today, so you know I'm calculating pretty good. That's almost my record. I've done like 8 Puzzle Storms since the thing came out. I just am slow, but 42 is really solid. I can see like e4 is hanging. The Palinka Fund. Do we have anything for the Palinka Fund? Warnaki resubscribed for 22 months earlier. Thanks for that. Alright, so e5. Anyway, we're going to go back to the game. Rook e8, castles e4. Risky to play e4. Bishop c2, c6. You know, now d5. I don't know if he had to do that. You know, it's an interesting question. But it's cool. It stops d5. So, I don't really like black structure here. You know, that's my problem. This pawn bothers me. Well, a5 might be appropriate. Take. He would like pressure on d6. I've got annotations in there from the opening, whatever it is, the lichess bot or whatever we call it, analysis bot. Knight g3 question mark. Personally, I'm not sure I like the exchange on c6. I don't know that white necessarily wants to do that or not. But anyway, you know, he could just sort of chill out with something like queen d2. Structurally, black is worse. So just, yeah, I mean, normal move here is something like queen d2. There's also the possibility of this b pawn advancing. So Warnaki's concerns about a5 are well noted. You know, a5 might be an important move to throw in. BG, welcome. Anyway, so knight g3, yeah. He's trying to attack e4, but he doesn't have enough pressure. And ultimately, that knight might be on a bad square if it's attacked by h5, and he goes immediately with h5. This idea is classic King's Indian attack, h5, h4, h3, weakening his king side. So now queen b1, he follows through. But the problem is that tactic. The tactic we saw earlier is now going to be an issue, I guess. Black can play h4. The whole point is you've got 4 attackers, but that hanging bishop on b2, which we pointed out earlier. No, I mean, I like h4. I like h4. He can't take. Right? Here we really got something. Now we're just winning a piece. So... No, h4 was strong, and Sadamasa missed it. I think just here, h3. And then inducing the weaknesses in the white king side. But you're talking about a very long game now. I mean, this remains a very, very weird, complicated position. And it's hard to get in there. Mr. Slow had a different idea to play for knight g4. But I don't know, like, which position we're talking about necessarily. Maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, and then here. With the idea of here. Meanwhile, black you know, could also do more stable stuff like a5, rook b8, queen e7. Okay, there's a lot to analyze. I want to get to all the games, so we're going to go through what happened. It was actually d5. Wei played b4. And this is probably a fast game. Yeah, I mean, Sadamasa always submits like fast games. You should play more rapid chess, Sadamasa. And now knight d3 is possible, sacrificing a pawn. Plays h4. And I guess White can just take on here and take on h3, take on g3. So instead, it would have been this move to mess him up, force him to like give up his white squared bishop. In which case, we probably have a lot of compensation. I would imagine, you know, something like this, bishop f5, tons of compensation. Cheers, guys. Welcome everyone to the stream. Subscriber game analysis party here. All right. I'm not going to say anything else till I pour my beer. I just deserve time to pour my beer. I want to get to all the games though. Cheers. Welcome, guys. International Master William Paschall. Hungary, we have the highest death rate in the world in COVID. Wonderful world record we set this week. Hopefully I'll survive. Anyway, back to chess here. H4 is the move. He plays b takes c5, and this is the problem now. You're just taking, and like his king side is fairly safe. So I guess White could take either way. I would kind of take with this pawn, or at least seriously consider taking with this pawn, opening up that rook there. I mean, you got a serious decision. I mean, both captures look like they're possible. You're going to have to calculate. Maybe these pawns are too weak. Beer donation. Thank you, Mr. Slowhand. We got out of the basement with 0 bits donated this week. I was seriously worried. Thank you, Mr. Slow. Reliable supporter of the stream. H takes g5. H takes g. The engine likes another move there, which I didn't even consider. C takes d5. Maybe even hides behind the pawn. You know, the good old like Sicilian hide behind the pawn thing. Probably black should take on f2, which breaks up the structure more, giving you those knight g4 type of ideas. Breaking up this pawn and this pawn. Maybe taking on f2 would be better. Unfortunately, this is too fast of a game to really play a good quality game. And I like 5-0 better than 3-2. I feel like 3-2 makes people rush more, especially earlier in the game. I know that I play personally lower quality games in 3-2 than 5-0 because I don't really know how to manage the 3-2 time control as well. 30 plus years of experience playing 5-0 doesn't hurt. Now we've got h takes g3, bishop a6. When in doubt, just evaluate the position. Black's development is good. You know, I like the bishop on this diagonal. It was like part of a kingside attack. I mean, basically, Mr. Slowhand's sort of traditional instinct, I think, was to put a knight on g4 in another variation. But I mean, that's more in keeping what we would normally do. Yeah, the 3+2 is World Blitz Championship. Yep. Yeah, technically it avoids time scrambles. I don't like it as much. I've played hardly any 3+2. Personally, I don't have much experience. A few tournaments here. I've never played in a V-Day Blitz tournament, honestly. V-Day only started to have Blitz ratings like in the last 10 years or so. I don't remember when it started. CD5, you grab the exchange, queen f1. And now you had a tactic with knight takes d5. White would probably have to play... Yikes. He would probably have to play queen e1 in that position, I would assume. Pawn takes. Unfortunately, it's just too fast to time control. So it's too fast to time control for both sides to play a quality game. Just a lot of blunders. Now rook c1, queen e7. He grabs a pawn. Let's see if we get something here we can understand. Bishop g7, king g7, bishop d5. We're up the exchange. The h-file looks particularly dangerous. If the queens are off the board, I imagine there's a small chance it could be a draw, but if the pawns were all on one side, it would be much greater. The fact that these pawns are on the board, I'm thinking like pretty much guarantees a win for black. There's also stuff like, well, we can't play rook b5, but as I said, I mean, the main thing would be to get the h-file. If white could pick off this pawn on e4, one of black's pawns, another one, I should say, of black's pawns, they would have real chances for a draw. Yeah, I mean, this is a bad move. I mean, you instinctively want to go in this ending. And I think the Sadamasa didn't like the idea of losing this pawn. But probably we can find a way to win one back somewhere. What's going to happen here? Calculate a little further. It turns out that the e-pawn falls. And probably black's just winning. He instinctively didn't want to give up a pawn. But I definitely want to trade queens. If I can find a way to do it. He's also putting king on g8 on the color of that bishop. Probably not a big deal though. I mean, black should be winning. Again, I think now it's not as good. Yeah, no, we have queen h5 check. Oh, it's just over. Just take the bishop on d5. That's what the tactics puzzle would say. Playing for mate. I missed queen d8 check. I thought he was going to play king h3 or something crazy. There you go. And a nice mate with queen f5. Alright guys. That's why you lose so much in blitz. I still try to think when my opponent just shuffle their pieces around. Well, maybe Mr. Slow, you should start trying to play 3+2. I'm a purist. I mean, I played 5-0 for like 30 years, so I can't really stop myself. It looks like 3+2 would suit your style, though. You play very well with increment. I probably would be good at it too, but I play too much 3-second increment, and it makes me too slow. My reaction times are timed for like 3-second increment. That's also why I suck at Puzzle Rush. All of my move times are exactly like just under 3 seconds. I've trained myself to make moves in 3 seconds. It's insane. I've been streaming here doing like 5-3 time control for 5 years. And so it's like I have this move time thing down now where all of my moves are in like 2.5 seconds. And I can't adapt to doing moves in like 1.5 seconds. So in the Puzzle Rush, all of my moves are like a little bit too slow to get up like a good score. Alright. The good game, but too fast time control for a serious analysis game. Ubatis is up next. Thanks for not submitting a bullet game, guys. Jim did that before. Let's see what we got. 3+2, that's pretty fast. Can we get some rapid games or classical games? Ubatis is up. Thank you, Mr. Slowdo, for gifting a 200-bit donation to the stream. Appreciate it. Ubatis, where are you? It's been a long week. Let's check this out. Ibates. Input, output. There. Princess Chess, welcome. I said that already. Mr. Slow, you put a 3-0 game in? You of all people, you're very, very good with increment. You should be like the master of 3+2. If you put your mind to it. You play in the simul's is 30-second increment. It's a little different. All right, but you also did well in Blitz. All right, you bought a submission for Stream Thursday. At least this one had very tense moment, and then my opponent fell on his sword, hoisted on his own Picard. Little Mr. Coffee joke. All right, yo, you got 25 CPL. I hate the way all the games get now question marks. Can we turn that off? I don't want to see that the King's Indian is dubious. Yeah, I'm not ism. I agree with you on that. King safety is #1 principle. Not the center, not development. If I wrote a book, I guess if I wrote a book on chess principles, I would have to put king safety #1, you know, and then control the center and development would be like a close second. But you could argue philosophically for other orders. All right, Ubatis is black, I assume. He's playing against the King 8888, 2151. This is rapid chess. Dubious. It's dubious. It's like one of black's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, G6 like literally has to be one of the best 5 moves on the board. How can you call one of the best 5 moves on the board dubious? Christian Bauer played it. Of course. You can toggle annotations on board. Can I do that in my own preferences for games other people sent to me? Really? Where would I do that? Are you serious? I can do that like across the board? So that all games I see? In the config for analysis. Okay. Let me see. That would be like here. Annotations on board. Nice. Get that out of there. Thank you. Can I refresh it? It's still there. It's still there, man. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter because it's other people's games that they sent to me. They're like once it's done, the damage is done. Like I can't make it go away. Maybe it's so annoying and it biases my analysis. Anyway, E4, knight C6, knight F3, G6, D4. It's like a 3-year-old got loose on the analysis board and started just putting random stuff down. Oh, it doesn't show it on the board. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Can I turn off the color too? Can we? Is there another option? Can I turn off the annoying, like, color? No, probably not. Make that go away. What's up, Cockatier? Can you submit a game? This was like my 7th grade English teacher's biggest pet peeve. When people would ask, can they submit a game? She gave us lectures. It was ridiculous, but I'll never forget it. Every day it was the same. May I submit a game? It's like ingrained now. It was ridiculous, like pet peeve though. You can submit a game. I'm not going to call you on it. You don't have to say may I. I'm not an English teacher, but we should promote good. We should promote good English skills. All right, Kakatiri. Yeah, that never goes well. with the grammar, people. All right. Bishop g7, e5. Empty feeling when I see that move. Even Asterbait won't bust this move till like move 8 or something. And he does it too early as well. Dude, how can a guy who's like 2,150... I mean, I realize that this is lichess ratings, not FIDE ratings or something, but really, I mean, this is such a fundamental mistake. Why doesn't he just like play it on move 2 or move, yeah, just, you know, e4, e5 on move 1 and 2 randomly? d6, destroying, it's like self-destruction of your own center is what, this is self-destruction of your own center. It's center harikiri. It's a kamikaze pawn with no ammo on board whatsoever. He doesn't even have any like gasoline left in the plane and no bombs or anything. This is just an empty vessel. e5. Now bishop e5. Okay. Well, the moment of truth is always like if you play a6 or bishop d7, they're both playable. They're different. Okay. Now, goodbye, center. Nice knowing you. It was nice having you while it lasted. E takes d6. C takes d6. And now the center has been degraded to level 1. Level 1 hurricane. c3, he's more respectful of his second center there. Knight f6, castles, and now h3. He's getting all positional now. A guy who's like randomly playing e4, e5, suddenly he's like, oh, I'll play h3. Like, Yubatis already moved his bishop to d7. Do you think he's going to go bishop g4 in 2 moves? Maybe White could come up with a better move. Rook e1 looks more universal. We need move 11 with the weird word jokes. Hopefully it'll come by later. Actually, move 11's on the list, so he will be here. Tropical Storm Center. h3, waste of time. And now Yubatis is guilty of basically the same thing. Although, I take it back. a6 is better, because he can play a minority attack here. There's a defense to the move a6 in the fact that promoting b5 and the advance of the queenside pawns in a kind of minority attack is actually instructive. It's not like White's going to play g4. I think a6 is defensible. I'm not sure it's the best move. I mean, the classic break will be e5, but this is going to be, you know, requiring some calculation and preparation probably. I mean, objectively, the position is equal. And if Black's not careful, he could still be worse. White has a center at the end of the day. He still has the second center. a6, bishop d3, and then bang. Well, basically, Yubatis is also supporting this advance. So now it's equal. Maybe Black's even better. Good square, because you're now supporting, like, e4. Goodbye, second center. Nice knowing you. The more I play chess, the more I realize like how absurdly important the center is, the central pawn is, and something that I didn't really respect, you know, consciously until like the last 10 years. I never really thought about it that consciously, so I really started teaching chess on a regular basis. This is a good move. Mr. Coffee style, bishop g5. Mr. Slowhand, well, that's an alternative, right? Mr. Yubatis doesn't have to play e5. This is like the safer pawn structure plan. You know, it's like the Queen's Gambit. We can play a minority attack, or we can break in the center. Same thing here. We do the more dangerous break, or we can do minority attack with b5, b4. It's not that effective here. I mean, if we play b4 and White pushes with c4, you know, he may be able to just stall us. It's not like we have a pawn on d5, so it's a little bit tricky for black. Like, we might have to, say, put more pressure on d4 to enable this minority attack. But I do think that it's like a less dynamic, less high-risk undertaking to play like b5. There's also, anytime you have an extended fianchetto, you have to watch out for a4. But I think like there, okay, probably we're fine here. I'm not ism said what? a5 is too slow. a5 is too slow. I'm sorry, I missed something. e5. Anyway, he goes in the center. Take, take. Bishop g5, fighting for control of e4. That's a little annoying. I would be a little concerned now that I'm even better, honestly. Do you have some kind of tactic? I'm looking at like crazy stuff. This doesn't work, right? There is queen b6. Doesn't look particularly dangerous. I am concerned about this square. White gets a lot of good bishop versus bad bishop till the end. White gets a lot of good white squares versus bad bishop. This piece could be problematic for black. You know, with or without e5, it has limited scope. It's a good defender. I'm concerned about white's control of e4. We can't get our kingside majority rolling really easily. And if we do stuff like this, it's like takes, takes. And I don't know what's happening here. I mean, all bets are off in a position like this. I have no idea. It would require a lot of calculation. But I'd like to keep it clean. Bishop f6. Oh, this is game. You just lazily played h6. Bishop f6. Wow. And you just did the lazy move, right? And he didn't do bishop to hg6. Because this is difficult to see, you know. It's difficult to see that one move threat. Alright. So he plays positionally. I've been in a mistactic, but I mean, this is very, very obvious, right? Bishop takes. Bishop takes h3. Bishop f7 check is not a good idea. So I guess you just back off. And white has good control of the e4 square. Rook d8. I don't know. You know, it's getting kind of messy in this position. I don't like when it's messy, you know. Can we get a better move than h6? I mean, I guess sensible move is like queen c7, just guarding this pawn and preparing to connect the rooks. But I think the white is fine. The engine's calling it better for black. Wow, that's surprising. But it really likes black's central pawn, I think. The engine is crazy about black's central pawn. Maybe I'm not appreciating the value of this pawn as much as I should. Bishop f6, queen f6, so he misses the point. And then rook d8, and you're all okay. And then you've got one of those London system players who's like obsessed with attacking g6 with every single piece on the board, even if it doesn't matter. Instead of this, I thought maybe we move the queen back and just roll with f5. There is a little issue with like checks and the b7 pawn hanging for black. I guess we'll have bishop e6. Then the white square bishops get traded. It could be a little complex. So you played rook e8. You know, you might want the rook on f8 supporting that majority. This is a weird move, you know. He just doesn't really think forward. Now he forces you to play a good move. And now you just blast him with f5. Well, that was well planned out. I mean, if he's sensible here, let's do the other, like, rook here first or something. Now what do you do? Queen e7? Now, instead of knight e4 walking into the avalanche of pawns, maybe white has a better move somewhere. Whatever it might be. There's got to be something better than that, right? He directly... he just, like, directly, like, forced you to avalanche your pawns. And now you didn't pull the trigger on e4. It doesn't win a piece. White has bishop c4 check. King h8, and I don't know where to put it. Got to be careful of the old knight h4, knight g6 check. Yeah, I mean, I've played a million games like this. This is when white doesn't have a plan, he doesn't know what he's doing, and he just, like, watches this roller come down the board. Welcome to the kingside pawn majority. Maybe you should have thought about your center earlier. Remember when you had a pawn on e5? White had a pawn on e5. Then white had a pawn center on d4. And now he has no pawn center at all. And now black's pawn center is just like washing down the board like a hurricane. That, my friends, is hypermodern chess. e4, knight d2, queen c5, knight b3, queen b6, rook d1. Now maybe you'll just trade all the pieces and agree to a draw, right? There's this lever here. This is the best this bishop has looked all game. And so Yabatis went for e3, which is natural. You'd have went for queen and knight versus, of course, if you can get queen and knight versus queen and bishop. You try to get white square play against the bad bishop on g7, but black doesn't have to cooperate. Yeah, that's a normal plan. I'm nodism, like in the Mr. Coffee's favorite opening, the Tory attack, where you play bishop g5 and you trade off your bishop a lot. If you could do something like trade off the other bishop pair and then just play with like white square knight against bad bishop, you're at least equal. You know, that's a typical kind of strategy. It looks like Yabatis maybe went a little quick here. White has no counterplay. 0. So if it was like Stockfish, it probably would have found some, you know, more gradual way of improving. But the one thing I guess you could do wrong would be to let white like hoover everything off the board. If we let white hoover all the pieces, I mean, I could see scenarios where white could hang on for a draw, you know, or maybe he can penetrate or something. But if you go into an endgame like a chicken, it's possible that black's still better, but it's not that much. There's chances for white to draw here. So we don't want to play like a chicken. f3, good idea. Nice knowing you. Anyway, that f3 was kind of somewhat questionable. Where do you find these players? He was a pretty weird blunder for a 2100. Yeah, I think he was drunk. He lost all his pieces at the end. Then he said he was drunk. Alright. Anyway. It was good, though. It was a good, instructive win, Yabatis. You showed us the importance of hypermodern play with the central pawns and the effect that it will have, long-lasting effect in the game. You know, White really played badly. All right, Soumaïr. Is Soumaïr here? He's here. All right, he's here. Not interesting after f3. That's a very strange blunder. Alright, so Soumaïr, Bijak, otherwise known as Bijak, Soumaïr. Here's a game I played 3 days ago in Hourly Rapid Arena. You ended 11th with a performance of 2400. Whoa. Congratulations, nice job. Okay, it's not the yearly Rapid Arena, but still a very good result. Hourly Rapid Arena, 11th place, 2400 performance. Excellent. He learned everything here on our stream. We need testimonials, Soumaïr. Testimonials to the stream. Welcome everybody, International Master William Paschall, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. So we've got Sumaher playing the white pieces, correct? Nimzo. It's always a Nimzo. It's always sunny in Budapest. Okay, so I've played Queen C2. There's a lot of theoretical knowledge necessary for both sides. This weird. How did my move get like randomly put in there? I just like right-clicked the mouse and it played Queen E7. That's my game from 2017. Make my opponent think for like 40 minutes. I never played that against Sumaher. I gave away my prep. Alright. So castle. So far a proof that time reduction isn't good for quality chess. What's that, Mr. Slow? As if we needed any proof of that. Alright, castles, bishop g5. I'm not going to get into a theoretical discussion. We don't have time for this, but the main lines are c5, d5, castles. Black also has b6, d6, some other side lines. Knight c6 I've played. But okay, castles is common, and now bishop g5. So the main line that seems the most common is a3. It's just a remark. Well, I was just wondering why, you know, I thought you were responding to somebody else's comment, Mr. Slow. Why I asked, I mean, the reason why I'm asking was if I missed a comment from someone else. Because I always talk about stuff like this. I mean, earlier I was saying that the games that are fast aren't such good submissions. I prefer people to submit rapid, but you're not forced to. I mean, I'll honor your blitz games and even bullet if you put it in for your submissions. But I agree with Mr. Slow, of course. Everyone knows that. Oh, you're guilty with your 3-0 addiction. I didn't know you had a 3-0 addiction. Have you consulted someone about treatment? I mean, a lot of people are like playing at work. Maybe like when they get a 5-minute break and they can only, you know, play like 3 + 0. Right. Yeah, Sadamasa. So there's a lot of different lines. A3, I don't know. It doesn't feel like A3 should be the best move. But what is the best move? Is it bishop g5? Probably. Alright, bishop g5, probably the best move. Now black can go back into a c5 Nimzo with c5. d5 transposes to a form of, well, I mean, what we call it. Is it a Rogozin? This is not commonly played here. You drank too much beer yesterday. Good for you. C5, what else is standard? B6 is maybe not that stupid. D6 is possible. Yeah, I mean, actually, you put black in an awkward spot with bishop g5. He almost has to play c5. I don't know. I mean, theoreticians don't agree that bishop g5 is the best move, but I don't know. You know, I don't really think a3 is better for white. e4. e4 is the most common move, right? But this doesn't seem to be better for white either. These lines seem like black's doing all right. Look at the engine. Completely equal, according to Stockfish. I will admit that these positions are tricky if both sides don't know what they're doing. It's very sharp, but it's probably nothing. And that's why I'm saying that bishop g5 could just as well be the best move, because I'm not convinced that a3 or e4 offers white an advantage. Knight f3 is just kind of a move. So honestly, like bishop g5, what might as well be. Um, nothing wrong with it. C5 is black's best move. D5 is weird. So if you take on D5 and he takes with the queen, what happens there? Doboshev versus Jakub Attila, 2003. Okay, white has a center. He takes on f6. Plays like what? Knight f3. I mean, couldn't black have time to play c5 or something? Is this that clear? I guess black's development's kind of bottled up. Funny blitz game. What's the engine say? Damn. c5. It's got to be c5. e4. So this is some kind of weird offbeat variation I just invented. It's actually playable. But I mean, d5 is not typically played. Wow. So you're witnessing Stockfish 11 creating like opening theory, innovation. I don't even have Stockfish 13. Imagine that on Chrome. But it seriously wants to play h6, man. This is like brilliant. Wow. That's some serious stuff there. If bishop f6, queen f6, pawn e6, it just sacks a pawn. Look at this here. You can play c5 with dynamism. Dynamic doggo. You know, I wouldn't feel real safe here with white. That's kind of scary, you know, honestly. I think I'll just pass and play bishop h4. So now you've got 3 games. The wife of Cornet. An old game from New Zealand, and 1 game between Turov where he lost with white. Damn. This is thanks Paschall99 for subscribing. Appreciate it, guys. Supporting the stream if you can. Doing that helps us a lot. This is quite cool. Turov lost with white here. I mean, this is a transposition. Isn't this a transposition to some kind of Magnus stuff? Now we're transposing back to normal variations. Maybe black's like a genius, you know? Wow, h6 changes everything. Alright, how bad is it to just play e takes d? He plays... What happened in the game? Oh, you didn't play cd. So e3, different variation. Man, you're close to transposing to a Rogozin for sure now. c5, sure. 3-0 for black. Wow. Alright, I mean, what happens here if we take on c5 now? It's starting to look like almost a normal classical Nimzo. Black is 2400. Well, I'm getting really interested in this opening after everything was said and done. It's such a rare line, Bijak. You know, there could be some important stuff here. The thing is that not that many people play your move bishop g5, so the theory's not that well worked out. But this d5 deserves like real consideration for black. What happens here? So d takes c5. I mean, this might be the sensible thing for white to do. Would you consider doing that? Did you consider doing that? You played c takes d5, so it says the engine agrees d takes c5. But I mean, this turns into a normal kind of classical Nimzo c5 variation. C takes d5, and now he has c takes d4. And you're left with an isolated pawn. So he missed it. This is huge, dude. So somehow you transpose back to games, but this changes the structure favorably for black. And now black is fine. ED4. What do we do? Queen takes. Wow, partly grass Kosmin. So who's that? Is that Mircea's father? Or some other relative? I didn't realize he had relatives who played. That's not a very common name. So our friend from the Sunday streamer battle, that's probably like his father or something. Could be a brother who plays. Maybe a brother. Alright, queen d5 or ed5. He played this, bishop d3, h6, here. You got the acerbate bishop now. Honestly, that's like the last move I would play here, but you were worried about your d4 pawn. Why would you retreat your bishop back to e3? Were you worried about g5? Maybe that's seriously possible. Well, I mean, the point is that White's going to play knight e2 if he gets checked. If he gets checked, we have this very logical inner position. There's some good players here: Baburin, Bogatyrev, Chekhov, Drozdovsky. All of these former Soviet grandmasters, except for Drozdovsky, who's probably younger. h6, bishop h4, and the knight will come to e2 if check. Funny that black didn't play a single game with check. Knight e2. It looks like white's better. You didn't like g5. Yeah, I mean, I guess g5 isn't that insane. Although I guess black has to be a little careful, because you could actually castle queenside. That sounds nuts, but you're afraid of this? No, I mean, I don't know. This looks kind of dangerous, but yes, it's possible. Honestly, I think you're better here. This looks a little dubious for black. I mean, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna take this? Maybe he should take it right away. If you play with a knight takes, maybe you put your king on f1, like check, king f1. You have ideas. And black has a lot of holes. f5, h5, h4. If knight c6, you can retreat your other knight to e2. And you have no bad pieces here. Yeah, I mean, you're being a little dogmatic about your bishop there. He's making a lot of sacrifices to go for that bishop. It's a typical exchange. You know, you'll get the h-file or a really strong piece. Yeah, I don't like bishop e3. Oh, this didn't happen in the game. Whoa. Wait, what was that? This didn't happen in the game. I'm sorry. Bishop d3, h6. That was just analysis. Bishop h4. He didn't actually exchange on d4. Rook e8. Okay. Knight e2 and then c4. So you've actually got what looks like a queen's gambit now. There's a really bad player who had this position before. Damn. I wondered what the other game I lost with Humpy was. I couldn't remember. I remember losing to her with black. But thank you for bringing this up. I totally couldn't remember the other game I lost against her. Oh, wonderful. We get to see how I lost with white. I'm not going to play through that. Maybe later. What did I do here? Bishop h7 check. King h8. I'm the only player in the history of chess. No, there was another player who lost this position with white. Was it something with a takes b4? Where I meet my memories. I probably had a lot of beers that morning. Bishop takes f5. Wow. So this happened. I was following some Dotov game. There were other games. Oh, wow. She had another game against another player in 2003. Against Zhu Yan. We had the same exact position. Queen d7. Man. Yeah, I was fearless. I lost an ending. So everyone else was smart and played queen c2, and I just didn't know that. I just exchanged queens. Exchanged my bishop here and lost this ending. After castles. Okay, anyway. I don't remember the game at all. I wiped it from my memory entirely. I remember losing to her with black in our other game, where it was more exciting. It was like a real stonewall type of attack I tried to go for, and it failed, and I lost, and she defended. But this completely escaped me. Alright, thanks for bringing that memory back, Bijak. So what do we have here? c4, bishop h7 check. And now your opponent didn't know the Humpy Kunaru variation, so they went into their own theory here with knight on bd7. I mean, if black... Yeah, I don't know. It's similar to the Rogozin, but not the same. Knights on e2. Move 11, you liked yourself some structures like this, right? Knight b6. Okay, but there's no threat. You know, I like this knight better on e2. It doesn't get in the way of the f-pawn. Later, we could use that. But now black should definitely do the humpy maneuver. Do the Humpty Hump. That's so awkward. It just came back to me. All these bad memories are flooding back. If you do the Humpty Hump here with queen d7, you can basically defend against that threat. Well, I mean now, like, white is forced to either exchange queens or go back. The ending isn't anything. I just assumed it would be a draw, and I lost anyway. Queen c2 would have been better. Alright. I didn't think about the Humpty Hump for a long time. That was a song I could probably forget. Bishop takes c8. Rook takes c8. Queen f5. Rook c6. Another way of protecting. That was Digital Underground, right? I forgot who did it. a3. Yeah, I'm not sure I like a3. I don't see that really... I don't think you should play a3. I think a3 makes your queen side less flexible. But it is hard to come up with a plan. Maybe you wanted to bring your a rook over or something? Speaking of pawn breaks, I mean, our only plan is to play like f3 and e4, but we can't do it because our e3 pawn is always hanging. If we could play f3 and e4, we'd be kicking some butt here. Strategically, there's just no way to do it. This is actually really strong for him, you know, to be able to play rook e6, bring pressure down. a3 is probably not great, but I don't know what to suggest. It looks hard to make progress. Maybe... No, I really don't know what to suggest. What does the engine say? Engine thinks a3 is okay. There is no better move, sadly. There is no good plan for white here. Move 11 style. Bishop f8. And now you went on a really weird adventure with knight b5. Move 11 is a fan of the Rogozin, and he's had some similar games with a very similar setup with black, keeping his dark square bishop. But knight b5 is bizarre. You're going out on the a7? I wouldn't even consider that move. This is another fast game, though. It's 10-0 rapid. So, it's tough. I mean, maybe bringing the queen back and, like, putting it here, I don't know. What are we going to do? Ultimately. We can't ever play f3 and e4. We have no break. It's so annoying. So you played this. a6, went back. Black played g6. You played queen c2. Bishop g7. Bishop g3. And then knight e4. A move that will live in infamy. So black has to consider the fact that it's hard for you to do anything here. But I guess you're threatening bishop e5. And again, I'm surprised. I thought you would take. I guess black could even take with the pawn, though. He has so much space advantage. To try to put a knight on d5. He's probably alright. That would be a more normal thing to do. Take with the rook, I would guess. So instead, let's move along here. Knight e4, knight f4, f5. That's what I tried to do in my other game against Humpy. I tried to get some kind of kingside attack going, but it failed. Knight e4, d4, h4. Yeah, this looks a little funky. He's got the strong square here on d5. Wow. So I would have played knight d5. Maybe your opponent was like, oh, I don't want to draw. I'm not going to trade pieces. But he's better here. This looks like a moment where knight d5 would be a good move. And king h7, putting the king on that diagonal doesn't seem like a great idea to me. Rook d1. And again, he should play knight d5. But he played this. I mean, is this going to happen or what? Is there some kind of cracky crab on the diagonal? f3 doesn't work. You can't play f3. If you could only play f3 and h5 at the same time, I would like my game. Can I play both those moves, please? Simultaneously? If we could play like 2-move chess. I play f3 and h5. I think I'm alright. I don't know how to play both at the same time, though. So you played h5 here. Sunk the knight on g6. And he's got knight d5. Got e5 square. So you basically defended successfully. And now you're going to try to open this diagonal. I would think now, you know, we're really seriously looking at g4. The problem is, if you play g4, he may be able to just hold it. Hold it right there. For example. It probably doesn't work, though. Black has to be careful where to put the queen. Maybe c8, so it doesn't get into a knight fork. After like, bishop f6. You know, knight f6, he doesn't get forked by knight e5. This is complicated stuff. Is g4 a good move? Is it just crazy? Queen c8. Yeah, see? Queen c8 is a silent killer. It just ends white. Oof. Yep. So you can't do anything still. He's actually way better. Move 11. Gifted tier 1 sub to the community. Bongolke. Bongolke, who played in last week's Simul. Guys, tomorrow we're going to be hosting Blitz. Open Blitz challenges tomorrow morning at Friday. It's 11 a.m. CET still. Sunday we go to Daylight Savings Time. Alright, Move 11. Thank you very much, sir. Still, we don't have a break. It's freaking Move 27. Thanks for being here, Mr. Coffee. Rookie 1. Poor Sumahair. He's like suffering. Rookie 1, Queen D7. Uh-oh. He fell for the fork. No, you can take with a rook. It's not a problem. Alright. Rookie 2. This is how desperate Sumahair was. He was like tied up in knots here. With no space. Because you never could get a break. Can you play F3? Dude. 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 So we have to calculate the nasty combination now. Bishop takes F6. See, you can't just do that. There's crazy stuff like take, take, take. My head hurts. Does this work? Well, yes, we take. Queen D4. And then it looks like something like Queen here, and it's a miracle. It's a miracle. We're up a piece. He can't sack on E5. So F3. Alright, so the engine says E takes F3. Is F3 best? No. The computer wants to play A4. I don't even have a clue how that works. It looks crazy to like invite his pawn forward. A4. Okay. F3. Take. Take. I would have gone down in flames. I couldn't resist breaking out. I'm like suffocating here. I never would have found A4. But if black has to find some kind of fancy move now. Alright, so instead you played Rook E2. I couldn't resist trying to break out with F3. Maybe it's not the best move, but I'm suffocating. C3. Calmly played. Yes, take with a rook. Wow, and white's is better. That's insane. That's insane. I mean, equal material, black has a queenside majority. Wow. It's unbelievable. So just like the C file and you're subtly winning. Wow. It's amazing. That's crazy. Check this out. Black tried too hard, you know, to break through. Brutal. And now rook here is game over. Now he stopped it. You almost have like queen sacrifices. It's over. I like rook c7. This would be a funny move to play. I don't know if it works though. Could we lose? Take, take. Is that illegal? Oh no, my internet went. Okay, guys, bear with me. I've been having some connection issues. We got lag. I was worried about this ending. But we're over in time to get back the winning position for white. This is a winning position for white, isn't it? Isn't it? Eventually. Alright, Sumaher. So it was easy to mop him up there. That's it. Alright. Interesting game, though. A rare opening. I spent way too long in these early games now. We only have an hour left in the stream. An hour and a half, maybe. An hour and a half with extra long subscriber stream. Jim's here. Let's get some action going for Jim. Welcome, Jim. Good to see you. I saw you lurking, playing some bullet chess earlier. How are things there? I hope the situation in Greece is better than it is here. Alright. Who's up next? Mirales. Subscriber. VIP subscriber. It's going worse? You mean personally or in general? Hopefully you're talking about in general. Mirales. You think I would know his handle exactly by now? Morales. Milares. What is wrong with me? COVID. Yeah, it's terrible here. You had the same situation where we had a very good situation at first. Now it's totally degenerated. Last summer I had like American friends being like, oh, I'm going to come to Hungary, man. It's so much better there. Now we had like the worst place in the world. Okay, it's a Grand Prix game. This is from Morales. 2300 got Grand Prix. Yeah, this was standard Morales stuff. Easy to commentate this game. Alright. So we got the Grand Prix attack against d6. f4. This shows that black doesn't really play this line, I would think. I mean, it should be g6. I wonder if the computer thinks knight f6 is alright. It does. Interesting. I guess it's alright. Alright, knight f6. Unusual move order with no real independent value. Like, there's no benefit in playing knight f6. If you play g6, you might be able to play e6 and knight ng e7. But there's no separate benefit in playing this move for black. Now bishop c4 and now g6, which is correct. Dude, it's very strange that there's only 2 games where this position was ever reached. But I mean, that illustrates the rareness of knight f6. You know. Balochaba lost when he was young. I think I beat him in 98. Our only game. And Balinov won a game in 2005. Anyways, it's probably fine for black. d3, bishop g7, we're going to get a transposition. Castles. When I say it's fine for black, I mean it means that it's playable. Key rushed. Yeah, you tried blitz against me. You didn't get key rushed, did you? So Morales here with a standard position. Queen e1. And now black played a6. I don't think that black realized the danger. The danger of the Grand Prix attack. I mean, this is why This is why normally, people are scared of the Grand Prix attack. Looks like e6 is the move to circumvent f5, to be able to take on f5. I would think even f5. I guess you got d5 here. Pelletier. But it would take a really knowledgeable player to play that move. a6 is slow. You're playing queen h4. So there's actually some games here. Wow, the Kolovich guy lost in 2016. Ostap Bender. Famous character. But computer thinks it's equal. I don't like this line for black. Very, very dangerous. Now b5, bishop e3, now e6, which looks reasonable. It is late. I don't see much in bishop e7, honestly. I would be terrified to play this line for black, honestly. I don't know. It just doesn't look good. Amazingly, black's still okay after bishop g4. Apparently. Did you do something wrong? I mean, you must have done something wrong. It feels like. a4 is worth playing. Interesting. What did this guy Markovich do? Markovich played queen h4. The black guy played... He's not a black guy, but the guy who's playing black played knight d4. Queen h4, b5, bishop e3, e6, and now f5. He cracked him with the classic break. Bowie49, welcome. And that's already... I expected like the classic sort of bishop h6, but I guess that wasn't good enough. He took here, which is a normal thing to do in this type of situation. This bishop is now open. But frankly, I was surprised when I saw the game. I expected you to do the old like bishop h6 type of thing. And then they go knight g5. Morales. There is some reason why this isn't good, right? He has like knight g4 or something? What's the deal? I thought this would be like the standard Grand Prix attack reaction. You know, it's just very classic. Knight g5 next. Is it not the best move? It's a blunder. Wow. Wow. It's a blunder. Black has c4. Oh my god. Well, I'm not a true Grand Prix attack player, I guess. The Being John Malkovich? How can you mess up that title in Greek? Alright. Isn't it just Being John Malkovich? They changed the title to something random. Alright, so this is better. Now if he takes with the bishop, he gets hammered by knight d5. In the head of John Malkovich. That happens a lot with movie translations in Hungarian too. Titles sound weird. Now you can just play knight d5, right? That's what happened. Got him in the stranglehold. I've lost so many times against Morales. Actually, WJ Loof, it's good to see you. I was just thinking we lost you forever. today. I literally thought about you today. And I was afraid. Oh, they got masks. They're turning off masks, guys. Bad news. We got 500-bit donation from WJ Loof, and I have like a Godzilla mask. But I got a message from Streamlabs that they're disabling the streamer mask feature in the next like couple days or week or so, or maybe from the next month. So I'm not gonna have like the dinosaur mask on anymore, sadly. Chescuda, welcome. WG J-Loof, thank you so much for the donation. One of our last Streamlabs masks of all time. Rook c8. And then he just took. This was weird. Very professional and profound. You see this bishop on d5 strafing the diagonal, and Morales just takes. And that rook could come back to defend f6 too. But it's such a crystal clear situation with this pin here. I expected rook ae1, but I guess it doesn't really do anything. Yeah, well, his knight could mess with you with things like knight b4. I understand. His rook is also badly placed at the moment. But this is a really, really sneaky move. You know, because it looks like, oh, I'm just going to take on f5 with my queen, but that's not the plan at all. It's to go here. The real killer is knight h4. So, I've based a few knights on f5 against Morales already. So we got queen h3, threatening knight h4. He plays queen c8, and then bang. This was getting out of the pin, but now he's a victim to this fork on e7. And knight on f5 is like game over. Very nice, clean victory. f4, trying to trade queens, bang. Nice try, dude. And now I guess I expected... I don't know what I expected. King h8. Man, he's toast here. How did he survive with quite a few more moves? Right, so the rook laterally helping out. It's amazing how hard it is to finish him off here. I guess I was surprised you didn't bring the other rook over. Is there something wrong with this? It's not like he has a good square for his knight to go to. It's like getting out of it. Queen h4. Rook e6. That's pretty awkward. And now knight g7. King g7. Queen h6 check. King g8. Bishop takes. Rook takes. He just wins a piece. And Morales luckily has a handy extra rook, which now enters the game with rook f1. Black wondering, what happened to my rook? Where did my rook go? That was just a classic Grand Prix attack. Very clean. Nice job. Yeah, Morales, you got it down to a science. Asterbait is up next. Always entertaining to go over Asterbait's games. We've got Inbox, Asterbait. I know for certain that you do not like to view poor play, but my opponent played no blunders, but a crazy opening. If you would indulge me in showing this silly game, I would like to ask politely to provide. I even promoted a queen. He promoted a queen. Just seeing Asterbait promote a queen is enough for me. We've never seen him actually promote a pawn. Technically, he promoted the pawn, not the queen. Everybody, welcome. Thank you for taking part in our stream here. It's a compact little stream. Lots of dedicated friends and serious analysis, especially on Thursdays. Not playing Puzzle Rush and bullet chess for everyone. to be amused by. We're rather serious toward analysis of games, especially on Thursdays. Let's see Astrobate promote a queen. So this is every beginner's opening, by the way. Magnus Carlsen, Rajabov, very standard. But it's especially important to get the rook out early with rook a3. See that? There's no games with rook a3. But I mean, that's like the first opening I ever played, honestly. Does anybody else have the same experience? When I was in elementary school, I didn't even understand the fundamental rules. My first opening was a4, rook a3. That's absolutely classic. And that's always like your friends, you know, in high school against the other kids who could barely play chess. Sometimes they would make me play them and they would play stuff like this. All right. It's bad. So what are we going to do? Knight c6. Rook h3 is going a little over the top. I normally like to centralize it, probably somewhere like e3. Now we just got d5 with tempo. Now he goes back. So it's like a troll playing white. e5. I like how principled Astrobate is here. Rook g3 again. Now I'd be strongly tempted to go with the 4 pawns attack. I'm very strongly tempted. Warnacki would have played a4, a5. Yeah, any feeling of tennis. You got the tennis feeling. Like, I'm sorry, sometimes when I scroll up and down, people on the stream get sick, but you might get sick watching this ping pong rook. Good principled move. Bang, back again. d4. Back again. I mean, honestly, Aspie, I think at this point you got a little bit cocky. I would continue my development. I would think, you know, the engine is going to go for development here. Astrobate goes to his old, maybe c4, you know, hits the rook, but I'm a little skeptical of that. Computer likes the 4 pawns attack. This is a serious chess stream. Astrobate shows me this game after I got done telling everybody, you know, how serious we are here about our chess. It's ridiculous. Like, your timing couldn't be better. This is worse than this idiot's playing the bomb cloud in a world-class online tournament or whatever. Anyway, Astrobate got a little tempted to get out of control, I think. You're overextending yourself now. Bishop d6. h4. Now you bring the other rook up, maybe. I can't believe he submitted this. Bishop takes a3. c3. He gave up a rook. Mr. Slope gifting a sub to I'm Notism. He's gifted 364 gift subs in the channel total. Thank you very much, sir. So he hung both rooks. Doesn't take them back. This is a full-on troll. This is what it takes for Astrobate. By the way, this is what it takes for Astrobate to queen a pawn. I was excited. I thought he like seriously queened a pawn. This is how it had to happen. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. There, you queened a pawn and made a queen on c1. The first time I think I've ever seen him promote something. And now castles. Now Astrobate is like counter-trolling with castling. Checkmate in 2. I think I found it. I really don't see it. Oh, I see it. Mate in 2, Astrobate. Knight e4 and queen e2. It takes me 3 seconds to see tactics. 2.7 actually. Where most people see them in like 1.5 seconds. Because I play this 3-second increments, I realize that's why I suck at Puzzle Rush. It takes me always 2.x seconds to find the moves. Most people are used to 2-second increments. Knight e4 check, bishop takes, and then queen e2. Damn, I'm wrong. That's not the mate into. The other queen. My other queen. I still got it wrong. I missed it. I even thought I had the right answer and it was wrong. It's the other queen to d2. Queen on 8 to d2 mate. q8 d2 mate. There it is. Have you ever seen that before? Astrobate had the castle. He's like trolling the troll now. And now he's not even mating him with knight g4. Counter trolling. You're not a good troll, Astrobate. Congratulations on queening a pawn. That was a mindless victory. Princess Chess. Princess Chess. Yeah, I mean, he didn't even properly troll the troll, though. I mean, if you're going to really do it, then do it. You know, queen all 8 pawns or something. I mean, he just, like, sort of tried a little bit. Just didn't mate him for 2 moves, and then whatever. He did it anyway. But if you're going to go all in, you know. Don't mate him for, like, 100 moves. Promote like 8 queens, maybe 9. If you're gonna go big. That's what I say. Princess Chess is up next. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother. You know, either we really troll him completely or we don't bother. Astrobate sort of compromised. What about Queen d3, Knight d3, Knight e4? Oh, you're not gonna tell me like there was something else. WJ Loof had a suggestion. Wait. Where was the mate? Where was the mate? Oh, there was a lost checkmate sequence. Wait, where? Like in this position? I'm not sure what position you're talking about, WJ Loof. Like somewhere around here? The white queen was gone, and the knight was on e5. Oh, okay, like closer to the end. Here? Here. Here. You're talking about here. There's a chance it could be made in 2, right? With this move? Wait. Right here. Okay, I got you. That looks like mate in 2. Smells like mate in 2. It's probably just a different mate in 2. Oh no. Yeah, because knight f3 is also mate. That has to be mate. WJ Loof is correct. In fact, we have multiple mates. But knight e4 is the proper one. Knight e4, knight g4. Good eye. I think this is also mate in 2. I don't see a way out. Yep. So there's 2 ways to do it. Actually, WJ Loof is more elegant because you're finishing with a smaller piece. You always want to mate with a smaller minor piece. Technically, so WJ Loof's move, according to the classic old school masters, is more elegant. It's elegant to mate with a smaller minor piece here. Alright, anyway, enough of that. Now, that was a nice little sidebar, but not a serious game. Obviously. Princess Chess submitted a game. Let's take a look. Thanks again for the gift sub from Move 11. When should I submit a game for analysis? You submitted some games some days ago, but people that submit later get preference. I submit. It's not that I gave them preference. I just simply overlooked your submission. It's not about preference. I just simply overlooked you. I can still do it if you want to. It's not too late. Alright. I don't remember you submitting one. I usually like write them down as they come. You would have been a little earlier. Yeah, hold me accountable. Well, I normally at the beginning of the stream ask, if I missed anybody. I call out the list, and you weren't here. I call out the list generally at the beginning of the stream, so people can say, hey, I submitted a game whenever. But I didn't hear anything till now. All right, so we'll take a look at this. People are so demanding. No, that's cool, guys. If you send me the game, I do it first. Did you say anything? Just look at this game on Thursday. Okay. Yeah, I don't get a lot of my messages. You must have slipped it in when I wasn't really around. Maybe in the middle of the night for me or something like that. Sometimes they get snuck in. If you sent me the message when it was in the middle of the night, lichess hides them from me. Alright, so this is black. E4, G6, D4. The F4. And I don't like F4. But I disagree with Dubov, who played D6 and lost in the game Gibraltar a couple years ago. The move is your move. This is the move. C5. I got dismantled once playing white in this position and realized how bad it is. So, F4 is not good against the modern in that move order. White has to play knight C3 first. His move order is inaccurate. For once, the opening explorer or whatever, the analysis engine with this little dubious is right. F4 is kind of dubious. So C5 should get like an exclamation point. Number 4 in the world. Dude, C5 is the move, man. No, there's no question. D6 like allows white to transpose. It allows white to transpose back to like a main line. Why would you want to do that when you have a better move? There's also people who play like D5. You can be like Emery Tate or something. There's also the Caro Khan if you want to play something, But if you want to play the best move, it's C5. The point is that if white tries to play the Benoni, his pawn F4 is too early. 4-pawn attack doesn't work properly against the modern the way it does in the queen pawn games. This is the problem. I like how that double, that's probably a double in the database. This is the problem. So, if white doesn't have D5, he's screwed. I think I played, I don't know, C3 or D takes C. I realized like D5 was bad. D5, D6, C4, it's the 4 pawns attack, but F4, it's not like black's going to allow you to transpose to the Benoni, but he did. Yeah, so you messed this up, actually. I think maybe you messed this up. We've got E6 right away, and you play a favorable, I don't know what to call it, Minassian variation. There you go. Christos Bonikas against Artashes Minassian. One of the only people who plays this type of setup, actually, in the normal Benoni. Very bad choice by Bonikas there. He still got a draw, but I don't like it. No. E6 is better. You don't have to play knight f6 right away. My opinion. The computer wants to play e5. Wow. I did not know about that. That's a neat idea. Because you can't take because of queen h4 check. Well, you can at your own risk. If you like playing king d2, have fun with that. Korchnoi might be willing to play king d2. So e5 is interesting, but white doesn't have to take. I'm not sure I like that. So I don't know. I like e6 here. You're going to transpose to a 4 pawns attack? Benko Gambit. Again, e6 is good. There's no need to play d5 or b5 and make a Benko, but it's interesting. All right. I have no problem with e6 here. I think the black has a good game. If you like the Benko better, maybe you like this better. There's no question that black should be okay in the main line of the 4 pawns attack. And now, which way do we take? Yeah, the engine didn't seem that hot on e6, but I think I like that. Florin Gergiu, it was a good year. Queen a6 is like a normal Benko idea, but this might be interesting. There's no discoveries that he can do to your queen. Queen a6 is kind of standard. It's interesting though, Gergiu played this. He's still alive. Sometimes I get friend suggestions on Facebook, and one of the people that pops up is this guy. We have a lot of mutual friends with Florin Gergiu. Queen a5 with the idea of, knight a6 with the idea of this, or c4 and this. You might be able to get your knight in there. It's interesting. And then this annoying queen trade. In the Benko, you have long-term comp, so even if you play like knight bd7, you can allow the trade of queens, still have compensation many times. You don't have to be, oh my god, I'm down a pawn, and I allowed trade of queens. In the Benko, it's one of those openings where it's not a big deal. Like, trading queens doesn't mean you don't have compensation anymore. It's based on this penetration against the overextended center. I've seen rook. Really like the Benko, I've seen rook endgames where white was up a pawn and he's worse. You can literally see the compensation last that long into the Benko where people are losing with white a pawn up, rook endgame, because there's constant pressure on the pawns on a2 and b2 and e4. There was a game there. The other game was knight f3. And rook fb8. And now e5. And what do? This Anna Matnadze, pretty decent player. She castled queenside. I always tell people never castle queenside in the Benoni or the Benko, but I guess if the queens are off the board, that's pretty unorthodox. Pretty close though. Knight e2. Why knight e2? Reinforcing the knight on c3. Clearly f3 is a better square, and it supports this important break e5. So that seems like a strange move by white. I don't really understand why we... why we would play that knight move. Now you played that to prevent b3, I guess. But one would expect black would play this, because you have b3, rook takes b3. Looks like it was good. I don't see any problem with that. I guess you would see rook b1 instead. But I mean, then you could still play c4, I guess. Nevertheless, it's probably okay. This pawn, yeah, I mean, his play here is bad. I mean, that knight is sick, man. That's really sick. The knight on g3. It's horrible. I mean, this is not a tactical position or something. He's like putting his knight on literally like the worst square ever. It has nowhere to go. It's out of play in a position where, you know, all the pieces are going to count. And you're just like walking in on him. I mean, knight d3 is coming in. Now there's tactic, bishop d4 check. Obviously, I could keep blaming knight e2 for everything. If our knight was there on f3, it would be protecting the d4 square. He's like, lets you do that. Jeez. That's terrible. So we can't win by force? Knight f2 check. He just moves his king. And now what? I don't know what to do. You obviously have compensation for the sacrificed pawn. It feels like black's better. But it's awkward. I don't see exactly what we should do. I mean, this move makes some sense. But we're going to get unplugged with knight e2. We have a little problem. Like, we could lose a piece if we're not careful. So the safe thing to do would be to pull the knight back, probably to d3, which is what you did. Apparently h5 was best. Not an easy move to find. Knight e2. I would put my bishop on g7. You put your bishop on f6, but he potentially hits you with tempo. I would think this would be better. Why f6? I don't like the fact that our bishop is exposed to attack there. Rook a b6. And then he's like a4. And you're cashing in now on the pawn. In the normal world where your pawn was on c5, you'd have a protected passed pawn. Unfortunately here, it is not a protected passed pawn. Yeah, Warnacki points out a good point. Another thing about bishop g7 would be f5. Bishop f6 was a mistake. f5 break might be an effective, way to attack his center. It can only be a benefit to allow for yourself to play f5. Rook takes b2, rook takes b2, rook takes b2, but basically a really good game overall. a5, you're not going anywhere. Come back here. Yeah, still. Black is not even up material. He's had to work really hard here. And I need to get behind that pawn, essentially. It's annoying. Luckily, it can't go to a6. So I was thinking rook b3, rook a3. This definitely controls a1, attacks the rook, forks the pieces. Yeah, okay, this is good. Yeah, I didn't see it. You're just winning the pawn. It's got to be good. Now you're up a pawn in an endgame. King to c5 is decisive. I don't know that we gain anything with the bishop. I mean, we basically have to get our king in the game, I would think. So how fast can we get the king to c5? And we're probably winning. Maybe white has chances to draw. But I mean, practically speaking, black's chances to win seem greater than white's chances to draw here. So knight a5, g4 looks like a decent move to me. Don't understand what bishop e2 does, but I guess... No, it looks like a waste of time. Now you found the right plan. But that tempo could make a difference. Ultimately, I guess it didn't. That's the proper square. Put your bishop. That's twice you put your bishop in exposed positions. Knight ec3. And the monster king coming in. And now maybe h5, fixing his pawn in the wrong color. h4 looks dubious. But objectively, he's lost. He's overextended. You got this. White is lost. The bishop had an interesting life in this game. It's over. Alright, thank you for the game. Next game is Princess. That was a well-played game. Only minor inaccuracies by Isomil. The only thing I can really criticize you for is awkward bishop moves. You know, where you're not putting the bishop on like optimal squares where it won't be prone to be attacked. Asterbait likes to do a lot of provocative bishop moves. Greetings, Will. I didn't play any extraordinary games this week, so here's a club game from one of our members who had an excellent performance. The game went 60 moves, but most interesting through about move 30. This is submitted by Princess Chess. Black is victorious. I guess we'll look at it by black. We're not going to request a computer analysis. Enough bias. Black's perspective through move 30. It's Queen's Gambit accepted, which I like, but I don't know that well. I like the fact that Queen's Gambit accepted imbalances the game. From an early stage, if you want to play for a win, I mean, the key is, especially against other players who are your strength or better or even close, you want to create imbalance. I mean, that's how you win. You make the opponent make mistakes. Nobody's going to win like boring, symmetrical positions. So I like this imbalancing characteristic of the Queen's Gambit accepted. This is technically a mistake. In QGA, you're not supposed to bring the Queen Knight out early, like in the Catalan. It's prone to getting attacked by the queenside pawns. So it's more normal, you know, obviously you should like take here first, then knight f3, and usually that knight stays back. Vallejo would be proud. Yeah, I remember playing Vallejo in the Queen's Gambit accepted with white in Blitz like 20 years ago when he was still an IM. My early online chess career featured Blitz games against Paco Vallejo. But let's see. E3, knight f6. Knight c3, yeah, not accurate. And maybe black can be more frisky with like a6 here. It's possible this type of move order might be better. Trying to really take advantage of that potential early placement of the knight on c3. And if white tries to play like a4 too early, he could get punished sometimes by this knight coming in. Vallejo did that against me once. Larry Remlinger. Maybe it's not a big deal. I would think knight c6 would be an interesting option here. Rare position. Because good players generally don't play this stuff. But knight c6 is okay. Anyways. Alright. Black played the traditional e6, bishop c4. Alright, maybe it's not that bad. All I can say for c6 is maybe it's not that bad. I mean, ideally, we want to put the bishop on this diagonal and kick some butt. So it's strange for black to play c6. You have the option to play a6 and extend the fianchetto with a fast, very active development. Black's playing it like a Slav. I mean, the truth is it could transpose to the Marin. If knight f3, knight on bd7, it's kind of funny. Like, close your eyes and just blindly make the moves, right? We're going to transpose to like a Marin. If white cooperates or something. I don't know. It's just very weird for black to play c6. So bishop takes c4. Yeah, I mean, if not a6, then you do the normal c5. And that's about all the options you're down to here. I mean, once in a while you see people play weird stuff like this. It's basically a weird Nimzo. That's about all you've got. c6 is passive. White should be better. And then that move. Whoa. Now that's interesting, right? Maybe a6 is more dynamic. Is c5 drawish? Like, white could play pawn takes pawn if he was like a draw groveler. You need a word. Groveler of draws. Connoisseur of draws. Yeah, I mean, if you get like a professional drawer who's like expert in drawing like 0.1, 0.2 worst positions, man, f3 is gross. But I will say one thing about it. The best way to punish f3 is like ripping it open with c5. So it's kind of ironic, you know. He's like, all right, if you're going to play c6, I'm going to play f3. And in order to take advantage of that, you've got to play c5. Haha, you know. The best way to crack that, of course, is this break. On the diagonal, you want to crack this diagonal open. Yeah, f3 is weird. Just unnecessary. Bishop e7, knight e2. Nevertheless, white has a good game. I think that black should play c5. As stupid as that sounds. Let's see what the Oracle says. I wouldn't be surprised if the engine recommends c5 immediately. Anybody want to vote? Can we get a Mr. Coffee vote on it? You guys are going to cheat. You'll cheat if we have a vote, right? Nobody in this team cheats. At least not in chess, but... For the most part, regulars on our stream don't cheat. But would you cheat in a quiz? I think c5 cracks the structure. Oh, it's close. It's close. You got it. No. Bishop e7 and then c5. a6. It's very close. It's just winning, just barely. I'm going to stop it. c5, punishing f3. That's embarrassing. Alright, anyway. You got the point. Bishop e7 is okay. But white has time to play e4 now. Don't wait around too long till he's able to support his center. It's not too late. You better do c5. Keep him honest. Castle. Castle, your last chance. Castle, castle. Sorry guys, I'm lagging. We have a lag wave. Watch out. Keep your head down. Serious lag wave. Better be gone. It's going on. You got a follow from Frank Gomez. Thanks for following, Frank. Alright, hopefully we can watch some moves go by here without the lag monster. Castle, castle, last chance to play c5. Okay, black has funkier stuff in mind. B5. Alright. Very well. B5's alright. He's obviously trying to play a Marin type of setup. We should be able to play C5 after A6 anyway. You just don't want to hesitate too long here, because if white has time, he's going to turn into like Ding Liren in a couple of moves. You know, like E4, bishop E3, and white could be better. Yeah, I think he needs to play E4 now. But again, it's not too late. Black's still fine. White played A3 passive. Whoa. Then it changed the whole position. Maybe I underestimated A3. William. Wait a minute now. That's the problem. We didn't think about B4. B4 A5, and then you take it. Maybe, you know, B4 can be broken by A5. We will find out. If there's any doubt, you play C5 right away, and black's fine. Let's check it out. Bishop B7 here, bang. No, you must play A5 now. The knight needs to come to A6. At this point, you might need knight A6 to put pressure on the B4 pawn when we play A5. There's kind of semi-Slav lines where this happens. I've seen similar examples, like rook B1. We can play like knight A6, putting pressure on that pawn. And what's white going to do? You know, he's got a problem here. How do you plan on protecting it? Knight A2, Richard Rapport's favorite move. You could even get this now. Maybe it holds together though. Maybe it's not that bad. It's possible that this works, and white keeps the balance. Yeah, the engine's got it real close. So that's how it would probably go down. But white doesn't pull the trigger on B4. Oh, he does. Oh, black doesn't pull the trigger on A5. Okay. Here. And then black's going to seriously be in trouble if he doesn't do this soon. Yeah, I don't know about bishop E2. I still wonder about E4. Here. Knight D5. I don't like the fact that we can't play C5. This is starting to freak me out. You better do something here. You better do A5 and get some freaking counterplay. A5 is the beginning of the process of playing C5. We have to chip away. Knight D5 doesn't really do anything. Now he's like clamping down on C5. We have to play A5. Oh no, we have a better move. So then white just blundered. Okay. No, I mean, I didn't like bishop B2, honestly. He should put his bishop here. Now black has this move. E5. A new idea pops up. Maybe that's the idea now. He's turning E5. Alright, so let's say E4 and then E5. And then like bishop E3, A5 with max tension. It's a game. The engine says white is slightly better. But this is what happens, boys and girls, when you play the black side of the semi-Slav whatever, Queen's Gambit accepted, and you get yourself backward on C5. Black had like a million ways to play C5 and just never did it. And now he's worse. But white just like floundered and blundered and lost his E3 pawn. Game over. So anything else here? Black is materially winning. I wouldn't play F5. It's a little cocky. I think we're up the exchange. It seems like unnecessary like risk, but probably still a good move. Okay, knight C5. Knight C5 takes. Finally, A5. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing bishop F6. I don't like that guy on the long diagonal. I don't like this bishop on B7 either. Actually, this situation is pretty nasty. So that f5 move's starting to really bother me now. He's still got some compensation based on his bishop on b7 being so bad. This is not so simple. Here, take. Our bishop's really bad. Yeah, but I mean, all the pieces are getting traded off. I don't think I would play a4. This could be a target on b4. Black has a hard time, but should be winning. And he just hung a piece. Okay, game over. Alright, guys. Anyway, next game. Thanks, Princess Chess. There was a lot to think about in the opening there. You know, the way that they played the opening was weird. Mr. Slow, finally. We got some good games coming up. Mr. Slow, Move 11, and Kakatiri. Last 3 games for today. Mr. Slow. Mr. Sloan. Mr. Slow submitted a 3-0 game. Please have a quick look at Short Blitz game. Quick look. Late in the stream. I hope Mr. Slow's still here. Alright. I try to put the games in when you guys send them to me in order. He's black. I noticed you've been playing my favorite variation against the Rosalimo. I had one game against you with white. Was it last week you submitted another one, right? I've kind of got to get something else to play, though. I play this too universally. Bishop c6, bc6, d3. Dubious. We didn't do this game already? This is a different one. Okay. e5. And it's like, if black wants to be safe, if you're playing a GM and you don't want to risk it, you could play knight f6 here. I think Kasparov actually recommended bishop g4. I'm not convinced, though. This is good enough. In his book. No, not this position. I'm thinking of a proper position. Sorry. Castles. d3 is a bad move. Yeah. d3 is a bad move. No, okay. e5 is good. e5 is just good here. Castles, and now Mr. Slow plays an interesting plan. He plays knight e7, getting funky with black. Instead of like the normal approach, where it's like it's an e4 e5. It's an exchange where Lopez, right? We have a great center, super center, and white has no counterplay. He's played d3. I told you guys how I beat Miles in this online banter game where now I can't remember. He did like h3, d3 or h3 against me. Now I can't even remember. Knight e7 is a funky move. This is reasonable, though. I mean, black will play for knight g6. But I think the key is the breaks. You know, who's playing first? Who's getting the first break? You know, it's whoever gets there first, generally, gets the upper hand in these sort of break situations. So that's why I prefer to play f5. I have tons of games with f5. Actually, this is kind of surprising. I mean, honestly, I don't know what Stefan Christiansen was thinking playing this with white, but I mean, c3 is, you know, d3 is just weak, but why is there only like 2 games with black playing f5 here? It's like maybe the best move. See what the Oracle says. Maybe, you know, f5 is classical chess. It's like romantic. It's the King's Gambit, man. You know, it's a good, and you've got the super center. Keep everything intact. I had a blitz game like this on lichess. Oh, recently, very recently. I love f5. You can also play, I think in one game I played bishop e7 first. You can play that first in f5. Yeah, White would like to play f4. You know, I don't want to give him time to play that first. Someone played knight e1 here. Danny Gormali playing with black. Played knight f6. And he drew. That sucks, you know? It sucks to draw this position with black against a 2378. I can feel Gormali's pain. Knight e1, for example. Wait, what? Knight bd2. Now we play f5. Black is fine here. It's ridiculous these people lost. It's ridiculous. John Gunnarsson lost to a 2300. Another player lost. These guys are losing to lower rated players with black in a better position. That is sad. That is so sad for those guys. Where did they get their ratings anyway? I would never lose position with black. Knight e7 is experimental. Alright, b3. Yeah, he doesn't have a clue. Typical. The point is to play for f4 probably. Of course, that's not going to be easy against knight g6. It's not like you played bishop e7. And the point is, like, here you have knight g6, and good luck playing f4. So it's cool. Jeroen Bosch. SOS, Secrets of Opening Surprises, author from New in Chess. b3, knight g6, bishop e2, attacking nothing, the rock. Now bishop e7, knight on b2. White has no clue what's happening. And now I would play f5. I wouldn't fart around here anymore. I really see no reason not to go ahead and just play f5. We want to get that in. It can be hard to crack White's position, but you're always better. Castles is okay, just don't wait too long. Now the awful h3. Yeah, that was what Miles did against me immediately. Like after castles, he played e5, h3. And another guy did that against me too. They think they're like preventing bishop g4. It's horrible for White. It just like weakens his king side. Amazing. There's some good players who have played that move. Georgi Orlov, Kachian. Oh my God. 2017. Whew. White has no idea what they're doing playing h3, but good players play it for some reason. Alright, b3 here, castle, whatever. Now you're ready to go. You've got f5 even better now because he's weakened himself. The King's Indian bishop sacrificing itself on h3. This is horrible for White. And then he shouldn't take and release the tension. It can be annoying judging whether to push or capture. I will say I don't know where to put your queen here, Mr. Slow. Because normally I'm playing with my knight on f6 and I'm able to maneuver this sort of Grand Prix thing with queen e8, queen g6, or queen h5. Here I don't know exactly where your queen's supposed to go. I guess you'll just play like bishop e6, queen d7, and you can do a Dutch maneuver with bishop d8. I don't know. Something like just sack your bishop on h3. So e takes f5 helps you. Exactly, queen d7. Oh, and this is going to be devastating. The unthinkable. You can say the last rites for White at this point after g4. He's probably lost. The engine says negative 4.5. Your king is now in a vacuum. You think like if when it says 4.5, Black has some sacrifice, but it's just long term. Everything is coming down the F file. H3 is gone. You've got a knight coming to H4, bishop D5. Forget about it. H5 break will be the final straw, and it's over. White had no clue where he was or what game he was playing. He thought he was playing Parcheesi. Bang. That should do it, folks. Now we have d5 if you'd like, for example. Although I like my super center the way it is, honestly. I don't really want to necessarily do that. You really should have a tactic here. Maybe some maneuvering like knight g6, knight h4. If nothing else, you can play like rook f7 and double. Ugh. Oh my god. I has to go back to f3. He went there. Yeah, this is horrifying. And mate. Very nice. Very nice. Alright, as Borat would say. Mr. Slow, no question whatsoever. Very pretty. Move 11 is up next. Guys, we have last two games. I'm out of here. Move 11. I'm only analyzing till move 11. Thanks everyone for supporting the stream. Submitting a blitz game played on lichess. Wow, that's popular. Alright. Same as Mr. Slow. So, move 11 likes to pick on low-rated players. He's a bully. He's a blitz bully. Playing a 1709. Guys, don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be back with blitz challenges, 11 a.m. Friday morning CET. This Sunday we go to CEST. We're definitely having a simul on Sunday. Don't know about the team battle yet. Move 11, playing with the white pieces. E4, E6, D4, D5. It's a French classical. I've experimented, I don't know if Move 11, if you've ever tried it. I experimented a little bit with this variation at one point. If you ever want to try something different, Knight CE2 with ideas like Knight F3, C3, and G3 is cool. If you get bored of the regular Steinitz variation or classical, this was a very straightforward game. I saw part of this already. CD4, Knight D4, and Black plays the lame like club player variation where you just like try to trade the pieces right away. Knight takes D4. It's not good. I remember watching a friend of mine play next to me at the Boylston Chess Club. I was playing board 2. My friend Jakob was playing board 1. He's a USCF senior master and a strong player. He's just like demolishing this guy, trying to play that way. It's very standard. You know, Black's trying to trade the pieces off, but the advantage won't go away. Mr. Slow, next game I send will be more of a fight, maybe rapid. Awesome, 300 bits, thank you. But I like that system that you played. 97 was experimental, interesting. It's something that I know, so I can really give some insights. Bishop c5, playing for a draw by trading pieces. Queen d2. Now more exchanges. And, you know, so we see there's even Magnus Carlsen games. Wow, recent one. Kariak and Carlsen, I don't know what that was from. 2019. It's weird, you know, I don't know why Carlsen would want to play this. He's getting overconfident. It's just not regarded as a good line for Black to trade everything down. White has a comfortable endgame advantage. But look, there's even more players. Mikhail Gurevich, Rachmanov, Dreyev. Is Castle's queenside really the right move? Guarding b2. Could you play it like a poison pawn and try to avoid the exchange of queens? Allowing queen b2. Rook b1. Alexei Shirov, of course. One would expect no less, right? If you really want to be a a fun killer against a draw player. Play queen d2. The unhappy 1700 will probably go down in flames. So move 11 went into the endgame. Take, take. This is better for white, but it's hard to break through. So now castles. So we see like most of the games are king e7. I have to ask our friend, our teammate, who scored the best for our team on Sunday last week. He likes to play the French classical. What he thinks about this. Peter. King e7. Move 11. It's move 10. What you're not supposed to play. You specialize in move 11. Bishop takes c5. That's interesting. Perhaps. So this is interesting. I mean, maybe the knight's better on c5. Duda. Still, it's hard to crack black. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you did here. Castles, white should be slightly better. He doesn't understand the importance of his king in the center. That's huge. So Michael Fagan here played g3. My friend Emil the farmer, as Jim calls him, lost against Zentai from our Ponda team. He plays for our Ponda team. They had something like a similar position where there was like bishop e5. It was different though. I wonder. I mean, I have doubts about g3. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look necessary. What's the best move here? Computer likes it, but it doesn't seem the most constructive. While Stockfish is changing its mind to h4. That is not unheard of, and might be more in your style. It's also possible to play h4, h5 and grab space on the king side. So you went with knight b5. Wow, and there's actually a game. It smells like correspondence chess, move 11. Have you been dipping into your correspondence database? Thomas Biederman against John Knudsen. John C. Knudsen. If that's not a correspondence game, I don't know what is. John C. Knudsen is probably like 1600 FIDE. But he's good with a computer. A6. Knight d6. b5. That's a lot of pawns on white squares for black. It's hard to break through. We got an a4 break now. Bishop e2 developing. Rook b8. Wow, so you actually had that position up till now and white played rook d3, which is a weird move. Lurk! Hand for free, thanks for being a subscriber. I don't think lurk is a command. Bishop e2. I like this break, though. The thing that move 11 has to be prepared for, and I think he is the fact that black can break with f6 at some point. That's the counterplay for black. You have to watch out for that and be prepared. That's why like g3, bishop e2, you might be ready to have to take on f6 at any moment here when black plays f6. I like the idea of bringing your king to the center. I was telling you Bodice in a similar position today. This is absolutely standard. King up, rook a1, b4, a4. And mitigate the f6. I think white is clearly better. Horrible bishop. But could your knight get stuck? What if your knight gets stuck and he plays like f6 and your knight never gets out? So I thought we would see king d2 now. It could get weird, right? Already, because like takes, knight takes. Now your knight is stuck inside the enemy position. I guess you have knight b7, and if knight e4 you have rook takes. Yeah, knight b7. For example, rook b7, bishop f3, and white is still better. This looks like a very good endgame for white. If you're able to get to this point, you have better king, slight advantage with pressure against the pawn on e6. Probably still a draw if black plays perfectly, I don't know. But tough. Bishop d3. I'm not really sure what you're doing there with bishop d3. Knight c5. Here, transfer of bishop. Probably not a bad thing. And then he saves his bishop. The bishop, the amazing bishop. What do you call that exactly? Super bishop. He's preparing to undermine the knight with knight b7. Not completely surprising. So do you have f5 around here? Because it looks like move 11 was trying to set up some kind of kingside thing. It happened later. But I wonder if he could have tried it right away. You could get very complicated stuff like f6, right? f6 takes, and all hell breaks loose. Gotta watch out for counterplay. Rook f1. Maybe rook e1 would be better. I like this, and I like this, and I like the fact that we're not on the f file where we get like pinned to our f pawn in some positions, and we're also pressurizing this in this type of line. Maybe it doesn't matter. But I mean, the danger is that knight could get trapped on d6. Clearly. For example, rook d8. You probably have some kind of weird saving move like b4, but it's a very, very sharp position now. I'm not sure about the placement of the rook. And then he played knight b7. So move 11 decided to exchange it. Takes it back. And now g4. I don't know. I mean, I suspect black's holding on here. You really need to get your king up. It's funny though, you need this as well, but f5 weakens your e5 pawn. So it got really sharp. He weakens e5, takes, pawn takes. This is dubious. What's up with the e5 pawn? Yeah, this is what happened. Okay. And then the final thing was rook e8, e6, take, and I didn't think it was enough. But watch this. Rook h4, and now black played what? He played h6. Yeah, move 11. I mean, I think the king should be on d2. But what if black had played g6? It looks like you're just worse, objectively. Isn't black just worse, like down a pawn here? I mean, maybe you have enough to draw. Black's pawns are all blocking his bishop on b7. I guess you have compensation. But I don't think winning is an option here. But the unbelievable happens. The guy plays h6, then this threatening mate. No, I didn't look at this hard enough. I mean, maybe black had g5 all along. And he was probably fine anyway. He was probably fine anyway. g5. But he plays this. Never defend passively, kids. This is what happens when you defend passively. Passive defense sucks. Rook e8, bishop g6. Nice. Now you're like a prisoner forever. Rook d8. Now move 11 played a very strange move. King c2. But I mean, clearly you have rook here, right? I guess it's not a big deal. I mean, plays this. But then king d2 or whatever. You have complete compensation now. Maybe you're not winning. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a tactic or something. King c2, d4. He who hesitates is lost. I mean, by the way, you have like bishop f7 check, bishop g6. Probably, right? Threatening back rank mate. I guess he still has ways to hang on. But it seems strange to put your king on c2 rather than d2. From my perspective. Because, I mean, in this line, you're just, like, taking his pawn or whatever. It seemed weird. Also, it seems weird to put your king on a white square when the guy has a white square bishop, rather than a dark square, where you're usually safe from one of his 3 pieces. Increased chances of no accidents. And now king b1, which was like hesitation. Take. Rook d7. King c2. You're just like vacillating. And now the active king. There you go. There's no way you should ever lose this game or get a lost position. The Maniac King. Very inconsistent play by white. No. I've almost given up here. Bishop h7 check. You did that. Oh my god. I can almost predict it. He took your bishop. I was joking. He took your bishop. That's like a got your nose trick. What? What? Master. This is great comic relief. Endgame technique at its best. Oops. That's not good. Can we hold on? It's a lost position. It's always harder to do the 2 connectors with a rook pawn, though. The only one where I would think twice about resigning right away. But it's over. Okay. Alright, move 11. That was awkward. And then finally, Kakatiri. Last game for today, guys. Gotta go. Thanks everyone for watching. Your generous donations. WJ Loof, Mr. Slow. Gift donations. Thanks everybody. Alright, last game. So Kakatiri. It's a fun blitz game I played a week or so. A week ago or so. Alright, last game. Taking a serious look at chess here. One of these games from Azerbaijan wasn't so serious. Whoa. Alright, we're trying not to look at the biased analysis. Kakatiri playing white. e4, c5, d4. I have no comments. Not a believer in the Smith-Morra, but it's playable. D takes c, knight takes e6. Actually, move 11 variation. Who's the opponent? Tilkara. There was someone on the stream back a ways who suggested this move. But the truth is, it's probably better. If you must play some kind of sideline for black, outside of the normal moves like knight c6 and a6, if black has to play a sideline, I guess bishop c5. Bishop c5 might have some interesting lines in it. Bishop e4, not so great, but playable. I don't mean it here. So it's just interesting that the engine doesn't like bishop c4. You've got queen d4. And this is Garcia Palermo, Grandmaster from Argentina, against Oscar Pano. Argentine Championship, 1979. I remember it well. Bishop f8. Draw? Draw? Of course. No. Sadie Dumont from Brazil, another game. So it's only played in South America. Not only South America, it's only played in southern South America. This variation. Alright, bishop e4. We'll call it the South American variation. Queen d4 is best. Bishop c4. There's a Hungarian I never heard of. Irvin Igaz. And now, I don't think bishop c4 is dubious. It's a normal move. Where do we put the queen? It's like a queen's gambit accepted. Queen b3, queen d3, queen e2. There can be a trick here, though. Like queen e2, bishop c3. It's sick. Takes in b5. It's like a Tony Miles Queen's Gambit accepted line. Miles played that against me in the QGA and Zoltan Varga. So sadly, you have to put the queen on b3. Okay. This is an awkward placement for the queen. It's likely to be attacked later by knight c6, knight a5. So clearly, you know what he should play. Probably knight c6. Instead, black plays bishop a5. Awful, weird move, right? Blocked by the queen. Blocking his own bishop's retreat. That doesn't make sense. Like, alternatively, black could play bishop anywhere. I mean, bishop e7. But you don't put it on the diagonal where it's supposed to go back to c7 here. That's very strange. Okay, maybe it's not a big deal. I'm worried about the d6 square. Castles, and now we got serious threats of like knight b5. Oh my. Oh my. So there's that square. That's going to be hard to keep covered, I have a feeling. Knight b5. And obviously he's in trouble. I mean, what's he going to do? All these squares are bad. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. They're all just going to get attacked. So he goes back. The check on d6 is like the least of black's worries, it looks like. This is the big problem right now. Our king is stuck. Knight e5. You're just winning in exchange, right? The engine says knight g5. But it's effectively the same thing, isn't it? Nothing is fine here. It's over. I mean, you're losing like an exchange. I don't really see the difference between these two moves. Does anybody? Is there a benefit to one or the other? Whatever. But you played instead e5. With a massive compensation for the exchange. But no direct win. Bishop c7, trying to challenge your power knight. And now he turned into Steinitz. Knight takes f7. Well, bg5 looks pretty good. But I guess black could play like h6 and... This is... He's going to have to take with the king if I take there, but he still hangs on. If bishop h4, g5, and black might be able to survive for a while. What's the best move? Bishop g5. Black might be able to survive for a while. But you played knight takes b7. Extremely materialistic move. That's called cashing in your chips too early. That's like winning $10 playing high stakes poker and... Alright guys, I'm done. See you later. After you take the first antes. Knight takes b7. I'm out of here. You let him trade your, your good knight off for the bishop on b7. He might survive now. Knight c6. He still has a problem with that rook, obviously, and his king. But it's a big step toward black getting back in the game, getting rid of the bad bishop on c8. Rook e1. Obviously a normal move, like protecting e5. If you never stop drinking, you never get a hangover. I'll have to try that one day. Obviously, black could play knight g6. Triple attacking said pawn. This is an answer. But for example, queen c8, it looks like black's hanging on. So you want to keep the queen on the board. I like e4, friend. I'm not comfortable with your queen on a6. I think it's a bad position. The queen is extremely good centralized. And it might even tempt him to make like a crazy move like f5 or something, which would weaken his king side. This is probably better. Black should probably take your guy anyway. He does. Take. Alright, so you have compensation for your pawn that you're knocked down. Now, bishop b6. Black desperately needs to get developed, so he should try anything. What about his king? Maybe h6, king h7? I don't know what to suggest here for black. It's not a fun position. Bishop b6, bishop g5. Okay. Gets out of the pin. But you have queen b4, right? Question mark. Queen h4. I didn't see it either. Stream is still going. Last game. We are going. It's like the hangover thing. Alright. Queen b4. An inaccuracy. And he unpins. That's the point. So on queen h4 he can't unpin? He can though. If queen h4 you take with the bishop on d8. I'm sorry. Knight g6. Bishop d8. Knight h4. Bishop h4. Little tactical oversight allows black to survive. For how long? Maybe h5 now. Queen c7. And the mate. Oof. Is it mate though? No mate. We're still not winning. We gotta just take the rook at some point. Maybe you can loosen him up a little bit first. I guess queen h4. If we're gonna do this, I guess the most accurate is queen h4, threatening queen h6. Maybe get him to make some sort of further mistake. This is good enough, I guess. Material is material. And then a killer tactic, rook takes e5. sealing the fate of black here. Good game, Kakatiri. Not bad. Some inaccuracies, some tactical inaccuracies, but the general gist of it was good. All right. Is it worth to get a copy of the Banco Gambit with Pal Banco? Well, I mean, if nothing else, it's probably a good collector's item, Princess Chess. I never owned that book. It's probably a rare book. I would say, since he's passed away. An autographed copy would be better. But I never got Pal's autograph, sadly. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. We're going to be back. We are going to be back with a stream on Sunday. Thanks, everybody. We will see you. I'm sorry. Tomorrow's Friday. We're going to be back with a stream on Friday. It's been a long night. Friday stream, Blitz. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Everybody for being here. Tomorrow, Friday, Blitz, 11 a.m. CET. I thought it was Friday already. It was like, I was announcing the Sunday stream. Man, I want it to be Friday already. You're welcome, guys. I'll see you all later. Later, Gators. Bye-bye.